Hello, this is Anant here, and welcome to MaverickEduCor, your one-stop solution for everything related to PTE. Make sure to contact us on the WhatsApp number or on the email ID mentioned right below for one-on-one assistance. Now, without a further ado, let's go ahead and see today's video. Today's video is about Speaking Masterclass. In this video, we will be covering all the aspects of the speaking module questions with a live demo. So make sure to stay till the end and get to know all the insights about the speaking module questions to get that superior scores in your PTE exam. First and foremost, let's look at some quick facts with regards to the speaking module. What's the English language requirements as per DHA? It is 88 marks for superior scores and 76 marks for proficient scores respectively. Now let's see it question by question and how we can achieve these scores in your PTE exam. Moving on, let's see how much time will be allocated for speaking module. You would approximately get anywhere between 36 to 44 minutes for speaking module questions. Let's see the top scoring questions for speaking module. If you want superior scores, I'm sure you would have to consider all the questions as important because PTE has set the scores at 88 marks. Now let's look at the question types. It is describe image, which is the top scoring question of the speaking module, and it will give you about 28 to 30 marks for speaking alone. Next is summarize group discussion. It will give you marks for speaking as well as for listening. The next two questions also give you marks for speaking and listening, which is repeat sentence and retell lecture. Then comes respond to a situation, which will give you marks for speaking alone. And the last is read aloud. Earlier, it was repeat sentence and read aloud, which was giving you high amount of marks. Now the ball game has changed entirely. So these are the questions that you would need to target if you want superior scores in your PTE exam. Let's start off with read aloud. Here you would get 6 to 7 questions in your PTE exam, and the skills that are assessed is based on content, pronunciation, and oral fluency. You would get 8 to 9 marks for your read aloud questions, and the preparation time and the recording time is 35 seconds or 40 seconds per question in your exam. Let's look at a demo for read aloud question. Here you would get 40 seconds of preparation time and 40 seconds to record your response. PTE says that you need to speak clearly and naturally as much as possible in your read aloud question. Now let me show you the question and start the timer starting in 3, 2, 1 and let's go. The movement of desert sand across the globe is driven by strong winds carrying fine particles thousands of kilometers, affecting ecosystems, enriching soil, altering weather patterns, and contributing significantly to global environmental processes. Okay, ES. CESSES processes. Okay, the movement of desert sand across the globe is driven by strong winds. Okay, the movement of desert sand across carrying fine particles thousands of kilometers. The movement of sand desert across the globe is driven by strong winds carrying fine particles thousands of kilometers, affecting ecosystems, enriching soils, altering weather patterns, and contributing significantly to global environmental processes. Okay, I've stopped the timer. Now, I spoke approximately for about 15-16 seconds after the beep sound, without any hesitations, without, varying my pitch, without varying my speed, all of these things. I did not even commit mistakes. If I had committed a mistake, I wouldn't have gone back to correct it also. So this is how you need to perform in your read aloud question if you want those 8 to 9 marks, which are very easy to grab. Let's look at another demo and see what mistakes you should not commit while doing your read aloud question in your PTE exam. Here I will be showing the question and I will start to play the timer now. Artificial intelligence significantly impacts modern education by enabling personalized learning, automating administrative tasks, and providing data-driven insights, and ultimately enhancing both teaching efficiency and student academic outcomes. Okay. This is how you should not be performing in your exam. First and foremost, if you had seen how I performed in my demo 1 and demo 2, there were differences. First thing is, I was preparing in my mind in my second demo, whereas in my first demo, I was reading it a bit aloud so that I could listen to the words, and during my response, I wouldn't mispronounce them. Second thing, I did do a false start. Even before the beep sound, I started speaking. And the third thing is, I was speaking fast and slow at times. You should not do that mistake. Instead, you should maintain a moderate pace. Additionally, I was bringing in all my emotions. So my pitch went here and there, and too much of intonation was also there in my voice. In the end, I committed a lot of mistakes while pronouncing the words itself because I was hesitating also. These are the mistakes that you should not make in your exam, not just in read aloud, but in the entire speaking module. You shouldn't be committing these mistakes, because if you do this mistake, I'm sure you would get anywhere in the range of 35 to 45 marks at the max. But you would want superior scores in your PTE exam. So make sure to go back and look at the demo one and follow those instructions as I had showed in that particular demo one. Let's move on to repeat sentence. Here you would get about 10 to 12 questions in your PTE exam, and then your marks will be based on these skills: content, pronunciation, and oral fluency. You would approximately get about 14 to 15 marks for speaking, and then 15 to 16 marks for your listening module, because it is an integrated question. That is why it is giving you marks for both these modules. Additionally, remember, it is a fairly important question now. Let's look at a demo for repeat sentence question. The instructions are, you will hear a sentence and you would need to repeat the sentence exactly as you hear it, and you will hear the sentence only once. So these are the instructions given by PTE for repeat sentence question. I will be playing the audio now.
The research requires substantial evidence to support its claims.
The research requires substantial evidence to support its claims. Immediately click next. So this is how I would perform in the exam. Let's look at the answer. The answer is, it had 9 words, and the sentence was, the research requires substantial evidence to support its claims. I've repeated all the 9 words without hesitation, without any repetitions or corrections, and with complete fluency, just like how I performed in my read aloud question. So this is the correct way of responding for repeat sentence question. Let's look at another demo for repeat sentence question. I will be playing the audio starting now.
The 2015 Paris Agreement established new global climate targets.
The 2025 Paris Agreement established new standards. Immediately, I will click next. Let's look at my answer. So it had 9 words in the sentence, and the answer was, the 2015 Paris Agreement established new global climate targets. I think I completely missed few words in the sentence. I repeated it as, the 2025 Paris Agreement established new standards. So the incorrect words were, I missed global and I missed climate, and instead of targets, I said standards. So these 3 words will be incorrect. Additionally, instead of 2015, I remember telling it as 2025. So this is a mistake as well. So out of 9 words, I've got 5 words correctly, which is more than at least 60% of the sentence. I would almost get full marks. Reason being, I maintained my fluency. I did not fumble. I did not hesitate. I did not do a false start, anything of that sort. But still, I repeated at least more than 60% of the sentence, and for this, I will be getting almost full marks. So this is how you can also get good amount of marks in your repeat sentence question by repeating at least 60% or more of the sentence with maintaining your fluency. This is the biggest trick that we can offer you for repeat sentence question. Let's straight away head into describe image, which is the highest scoring question of the speaking module. Here, you will get 5 to 6 questions, and PTE will measure your content, pronunciation, and oral fluency. You would approximately get about 28 to 30 marks, which is one third of the speaking module. And preparation time would be 25 seconds per each image, and the recording time would be 40 seconds per question. First and foremost, let's look at the instructions given by PTE. It says that you would have to look into the image for 25 seconds and then you will have to speak into the microphone and describe the image in detail. You will have 40 seconds to give your response. This is what PTE says for your describe image question. Now let's see an image. I would not give you 25 seconds over here. Reason being, I would want to show what an incorrect response would be like, or what mistakes you could end up doing in this particular question, which you should totally avoid, because content is given one of the highest priority, especially in this question. Let's look at a couple of incorrect responses for describe image question. First and foremost, if you are doing this mistake where you are repeating a generic template by adding some keywords, I'm sure you would get 0 marks. Reason being, if PTE finds out that you are repeating a template with some keywords, it will give you 0 marks for content. Once you get 0 marks for content, automatically you will get 0 marks for pronunciation and oral fluency. Hence, you will get 0 marks for that particular question. Let's look at another example of an incorrect response. If you just state the facts, for example, if you had seen in this particular image where it had dealt about Sydney metro delays in 2024, the image had so and so colors, it had so and so months, so on and so forth. If you mention only these information, PTE says that you're just stating the facts, you're not describing about the image in detail. If you do this mistake, I'm sure you would not get 0, but you would get very, very less marks, maybe 1 or 2 marks at the max. So avoid this mistake as well if you want superior scores in your exam. Until now, we have seen how inappropriate responses can cost you marks dearly. Now let's see an image where you can come up with an appropriate response. And I will be starting the timer of preparation time, which is 25 seconds, and post that I will be coming up with a response which is suitable for this particular image. Alright folks, I'll be starting the preparation time in 3, 2, 1 and let's go. So UAE monthly rainfall between 1944 to 2018. January has the highest and December has the January and December have the highest, whereas June, September, October have the least, and temperature also increases when the rainfall decreases. So this comparison I can get. Okay. The image describes about UAE's average monthly rainfall between 1944 to 2018. As you can clearly see from the image, January and December has the highest rainfall in comparison to June, September, October, which has the least rainfall. Additionally, we can see that the temperature has been increasing from January to December where it reduces. In between, the temperature is at the highest, and in comparison, the rainfall is at the least. Hence, this information is very useful to monitor rainfall and average temperatures. This was my response for this image. I had mentioned details about comparing the temperature in Jan and December. Also, I had compared where the temperature has increased in relation to the rainfall which has decreased. I gave out most of the information from the image by correlating them. This is how you can come up with an appropriate response instead of just stating facts. So this is what PTE is looking for as an appropriate answer. Additionally, if you had noticed, I was still left with 4 seconds. I ended it gracefully and I maintain my fluency and pronunciation throughout my response. You will get 5 to 6 questions for your describe image, and you would have to perform in the same manner in all the 5 to 6 images by keeping the content in mind. So make sure to adhere to all of these rules. It's time to look at the golden rules, the 3 questions that we have already seen. Read aloud, repeat sentence, and describe image. First, let's look at some generic rules of speaking module. This is not just applicable for the 3 questions that we just saw, but also applicable to the entire speaking module. First and foremost, you need to speak clearly, naturally, and effortlessly. This is how you can maintain your fluency. Additionally, you need to speak appropriate content. If you speak something else, I'm sure you might end up getting 0 as well. So make sure to speak clearly, naturally, and effortlessly with proper content. Next is maintain your speed and pitch at moderate levels. Don't increase or decrease these two aspects very drastically, else your fluency might take a major hit. Next is open your mouth and pronounce the words. Only then PTE software will be able to understand whatever you are speaking. Next is natural pauses helps you to maintain your fluency. If you hold your breath and speak, you might end up speaking very fast in the end and your fluency will take a major hit. Hence, don't make these mistakes. So you can take natural pauses whenever it is required to maintain your fluency. Moving ahead, let's look at the don'ts. Never hesitate, panic, rush, or speak like a newsreader or a robo. Additionally, don't do false starts as well. If you do all of these things, your marks will take a major hit. Next, never go back and correct your mistake. It will seem as though you're fumbling or you're hesitating to give a response. Next is don't use templated response in any of the questions. If PT recognizes this, then I'm sure you will get 0 marks for content. If you get 0 marks for content, the entire marks with regards to fluency, pronunciation will also be negated to 0 and you will get 0 for that particular question. The next point is mic will stop recording if you take a pause which is longer than 3 seconds. Remember, it can happen anywhere in your recording time, not just initially. In between also, if you take pause of 3 seconds, it will stop recording your response. The next thing is a human evaluator will evaluate your content only. They will not evaluate your oral fluency or pronunciation. Last but not the least, if you can maintain your fluency and speak appropriate content, nobody will stop you from getting superior scores in your speaking module. There are specific set of rules for repeat sentence. The first one is repeat at least 60% of the words from the sentence itself by maintaining your fluency. You can do this by visualizing and dividing the sentence to repeat it easily. Some of my students try to memorize the sentence, which is not possible at all. Hence, they are receiving very less scores. But once they learn this technique, they were able to repeat more than 60% of the words fluently. Now, let's look at the rules for describe image. First and foremost, at the least, speak for about 30 to 35 seconds fluently by pronouncing all the words. This will give you good amount of marks. Additionally, remember, content is your highest priority because if content is equal to 0, then your marks will also be 0 for that particular question. Hence, make sure to give highest priority to content followed by fluency and pronunciation. The next is correlate the data from the image. You can correlate the data by comparing them, by giving your own summary. On the other hand, don't just state facts or give a templated response. It will cost you very dearly. Alright folks, we have come to the end of this part 1 speaking masterclass. In the part 2, you will get to know the rest of the questions. With this, I am signing off for today and I wish you all the very best for your exams. Don't hesitate to contact us on our email ID or WhatsApp for more information with one-on-one assistance. Thank you so much, folks.